I'm Bambi Francisco for Vader TV, the network for innovators. Well, back in 2007, CoComment launched to let people keep track of their comments that they made across the web. Now CoComment is managing comments for publishers across the internet, about 1,500 of them in fact. Joining me to talk about CoComment is Matt Colebourne. He is the CEO and founder. Matt, congratulations, sir, for amassing 1,500 publishers across the web, and now you're managing their comments. Why are publishers starting to integrate comments on their sites? I mean, it is definitely adding to page views.
It's adding to page views. It's also adding to stickiness on the site. I think, unfortunately, we still have an uphill battle with certain publishers in that there's a concern about what if somebody says something untoward, but most people have realized that, guess what, that's the real world. People are not going to be ubiquitously positive about your product, your company and your services, and actually it's better to engage in a conversation with your users, to have them come back, to have them interact with your content.
Now, are you having, I was on your site, I noticed that you're tracking comments from the New York Times, and I guess you track comments from across the web.
Oh yeah, we track comments from about 250,000 sites at the moment, and it's still, I mean, you'd kind of think that would be the limit, but there's about 500 new sites we're seeing every single day. What's
the challenge of getting a New York Times or a major publisher to use your service to power their comments?
Well, tracking and powering are two different things, because obviously in terms of powering, what we're doing is going to a site like Virgin Radio in the UK, which is the UK's largest commercial radio station. Obviously the conversation we're having with them is, would you like to have conversations on your site? Would you like access to a global audience that is commenting across the web? How is the technology going to work on your site? How do you want it to look and feel? And guess what? There's a distinct benefit going to an expert in powering conversations. We can offer market-leading technology, and we can offer access to this global audience. So that tends to be the conversation that we have with a website. But obviously what we also do for the end user is, wherever the user goes, we'll keep track of conversations for them. So they can go to the New York Times, they can go to CNN, they can go to BBC. We'll track conversations on all of those sites, and pretty much any site that people go to. At the moment, over 94% of the sites that people go to and leave comments, we can track the comments there.
Wow. But you're not making money from the person leaving comments. You're not going to charge them a subscription fee for managing their comments across the web?
No, we're not. Although, interestingly enough, we will give them the option very shortly, because at the moment we monetize from advertising, and of course some people find it very irritating. So we will be very shortly launching a version which says, hey, you don't want the ads, that's fine, it'll cost you $5 per annum or $15 for a lifetime of an ad-free service, CoComment.
Well, as you look out a year from now, is the big driver of revenue going to be, or what you're going to be focusing on, will it be trying to license your technology to publishers?
We don't charge publishers for the technology. There's certainly some discussion where if people in future, or indeed currently, want very highly customized solutions and things that we don't have, then we'll say to them, there's a small charge for that. But in general, we don't intend to charge people for the powering of the conversations. We monetize two ways, and that's advertising based on the massive volume that we generate in terms of inventory, and then secondly,
so you share advertising with the publisher.
Exactly. And then there's research and data mining, where of course people want to know what are people saying about their products, brands and services, and to keep track of that. And that's a big problem in the industry. You know people are talking about you, but when they start talking about you in 100, 200, 300, 500 different places, keeping track of all of that is very hard. And what you don't want to do, of course, is start a conversation with your user base and then fail to follow up. So just going somewhere where people are discussing your company and saying, hey, that wasn't fair, or I'd like to come back to you on that, or whatever response you want to come back with, that's good. But if you then never appear there again because you've lost track of it, because you've responded in so many different places, that's a big problem. So we're starting to work with a lot of brand owners and PR people to keep track of those interactions with the user base.
And that's a different set of revenue streams that you'll be bringing
Exactly,
in.
and that will be a product that right now we're starting to trial it with a number of people. We're planning to launch that in Q3 as a chargeable service.
So you just offer the ability for a company to have comments, that you don't do anything to try to create incentives to drive comments or nothing like that?
No, quite the opposite.
Okay.
What we do is offer sites the ability to have, as I said, market-leading technology, look and feel to suit them, whether they want it in-page, whether they want it floating, exactly as they want it. But what we also do, in powering that conversation, we then track very easily every single one of the comments that's left on that site, and that is made visible to this global community that's now using CoComment. We have about 3.5 million uniques a month that are coming to CoComment and following other users around, and finding conversations. And it's actually very interesting because search tends not to be a great way of discovering conversations, because
so it's
like
another way of
pictures.
acquiring customers through the comments being left on the site.
But it works differently because typically you don't know that you want to participate in the conversation. You don't actively go out and say, I want to talk about X. What you tend to do is say, well, we're already having a conversation. Right. I might go, well, Beverly's got something interesting to say. I'd like to see what else she's got to say elsewhere. So I start following you, and I discover, hey, you're commenting on this other site. I'm highly likely to follow you there and start commenting as well. And so what you get is this audience, this active commenting audience, using our technology and then discovering conversations, and you get these flows of people following each other out. In other words, natural social behavior.
Who do you see as your competitor?
It depends in which area. At the moment, there's no other company that we're aware of. I always have to caveat that, but there may be somebody planning on something. But at the moment, nobody else can track conversations across sites without any integration. So we're the only people that basically you can use CoComment as an end user, install the extension into your browser, and pretty much everywhere you go, with a small number of exceptions, pretty much wherever you go, we can keep track of your conversation for you and alert you to any follow-ups, any responses. That's critical, and that's, as far as we're aware at the moment, unique. When we come into things like powering conversations for sites, then clearly we would be in competition with people like Intense Debate and Discuss, where it's pure technology play. But in response to the point you made just a second ago, it's actually not just about the technology, it's about the technology and it's about the audience.
So give us some metrics in terms of adoption. I think you said something about, we know you have 1,500 sites that you power. You have about 3.5 million unique visitors going to CoComment, the site. Any other metrics you look at?
We've got about 15 million conversations at the moment, and that's going up
at a rate.
Yes, and that's going up at a rate of between 30 and 50,000 a day.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of talking going on.
There's a lot of talking going on. What your funding needs? You raised $1.5 million. I read maybe last year or 18 months ago, for sure about 1.5. Where has that? You still running on that 1.5? Are you looking to raise funds?
No, not quite. In total now, we did another round in Q1 of this year.
Oh, okay.
So right now, in total, we've raised 3.6 million euros.
Oh, wow, okay. So you're set for a while.
Well, that will actually see us through probably to the end of this year. Okay. But we are intending to do another round in Q3, and we're just starting going out for that. Okay. Because of the rapid growth in the data mining area, we want to bring that up. Initially, the plan was to do that a little bit later, but because we've got the volume, because we've got the technology, and because we've had such a number of people just coming to us unsolicited and saying, I'd like to do some research, and we said, well, we're planning on launching that product, and they've actually not gone away and said, okay, we'll come back later. They've said, well, could you just run some queries on the database now? So we said, well, hey, best way to define a product is to have somebody coming to you with a specific need. So we didn't feel minded to turn them away. So what we want to do, of course, is therefore accelerate our growth, launch more products faster, bring a team on to actually go out and sell that and support it and manage it. So all of that requires a little bit more money.
More money. What's your valuation today?
We haven't actually released that because it's purely an internal valuation.
Okay. Well, good luck to you. It looks like, I mean, definitely people love to be heard, and they're clearly very active in conversing and placing comments. So if you can capture that behavior and data around that, I think you have something valuable. So good luck to you.
Thank you very much indeed.
I've been speaking with Matt Colebourne. He is the CEO and founder of CoComment. I'm Bambi Francisco.